How it started, how it's going. Another day, another exhibit speed build in Jurassic World Evolution 2, this time a lagoon for the MOSASAURUS. If you're struggling with making lagoons look unique and more exciting, then this is the video that's going to give you several tips. For this MOSASAURUS lagoon, I went with a U shape because that bit of land between the arms of the lagoons is really interesting to use for the viewing galleries that we're going to add. Now, it's very important that for this little strip of land you use the Jurassic Park viewing galleries, not the Jurassic World one, because they take up way more space, so you actually can't fit two across from each other. So if you are limited to a building set, like if you're on an older console, go for the Jurassic Park set. Now, what I'm also adding over here is one of the monorail roofs that I like doing. I think that this is not just something that is interesting from like an aerial view, but it's mostly to create something really unique underwater. That's the most important thing of why I added that. And we're going to see that much later in the video when I start decorating the underwater lagoon. But that's for later. For now, we're going to keep working on the top side of the lagoon. After deleting those extra bits that I attached so I can get the monorail super close together, it's time to add the attractions, starting with the zipline. I think the zipline is one of the most fun attractions that you can attach to a lagoon because it creates just a really awesome experience, and I really love getting the zipline really close to that monorail over there, so you can also see that really well from the zipline experience. And of course, I'm bringing it really close to the shark feeder so that if guests are lucky, they're gonna catch that. In front of the second shark feeder, I put this viewing tower, which gives a really good view of the shark dangling from that wire, because the ground, again, on that side of the lagoon is way lower. And then on the end of this like peninsula in between the lagoon, I also added a viewing tower as well for a more elevated view into the lagoon, and you can really look down at the shadows of the Mosasaurus gliding around. And then in between, as I announced previously, in like this, like in between the arms of the lagoon, is also a seating section that of course we're going to add a lot of decorations to, and the ground just sort of slopes down over there to the other level. And obviously, if you're going to recreate something like this, you're going to use this in a park, right? I just built this single lagoon. I didn't build the park around it. But the idea is that you can use these exhibit builds to incorporate in your own full park build. So you really have to envision that you can expand the park out in several ways. So I'm like making this big, like elongated plaza at the ends of these two arms of the lagoon. And you can extend the park out further, you know, attach exhibits to it, snake the path through the rest of the map. So you really have to envision it as part of a bigger whole, but I'm obviously not going to build an entire park just to show off every single exhibit build that I do. So I'm just giving you like little nuggets of ideas that I hope just make you want to jump right into the game and start building. That is my hope. If these videos are helpful to you, please give the video a like and of course subscribe for way more. On the channel you can already find a whole playlist with more exhibit speed builds like this, as well as park tours and even full park builds or condensed tips videos. I have a playlist dedicated to that as well, but there's a lot more content coming in the future. So if you just want inspiration and ideas for Jurassic World Evolution 2 to make awesome parks, then join the channel. It will mean a lot to me, and just let me do the crazy brainstorms and sketches and testing things out. Like, let me do the homework, and you can either copy my homework, which is totally fine, or you can put your own spin on it, learn from it. I just really hope that these videos are gonna help you build in some way, and whether it is just literally copying my designs or bringing your own creativity in it, whatever works, I just hope that this makes you enjoy the game even more, because I still absolutely love this game and I still have so many ideas for it, obviously, and I just want to share those with you. So I'm adding like this quick little guest section on this side of the lagoon. Again, you have to envision that this is part of a greater park. So think about how you're going to extend that into other exhibits that surround this lagoon. I think this lagoon idea could be super cool as like the centerpiece in your park, like the big lagoon at the center. Now, I'm starting to add the decorations in this little, let's call it the peninsula. So in this little peninsula, I placed like that line of tree in front of it. I'm gonna change that up later because I felt like they obstructed the view a little bit too much. But until then, we're just gonna add a lot of planters. I really like how the planters create like this almost staircase effect when you bring them up a hill. So I really like lining path with that to give it a more finished look, honestly. Yes, it is a lot of work and it is a lot of planters, so if you're gonna do this for your entire park, be ready to accept some low frame rates, but it helps so much. It makes a park look so much more finished if you line parts of your path with planters like that. And to fill up like the empty space that flanks the path, I used rocks and the foliage brush and some of the individually placeable trees. And I'm also bringing the foliage out way onto the end there, so the viewing tower over there doesn't look too naked, I suppose. It looked a little empty, right? So the trees are a big help there. Obviously, you can build this lagoon in any of the biomes. I personally just went with Germany because it's the temperate biome that I hadn't used yet in the past couple of days. I'm doing a building video like this every single day until January 6th. At least that is my very ambitious goal. Stay tuned, place your bets if I can make it or not. So that's really honestly the only reason why I chose Germany, because I haven't been there yet in these past couple of days, and I'm just trying to mix up the biomes, mix up the maps to show you that as well, you know, so you can get inspired by not just the build, but also maybe by how I specifically use the foliage or the terrain types on a certain map. So that's why it's important for me to vary the biomes that we're going to, and of course also vary the kinds of creatures that I'm building exhibits for. So that's why I went with MOSASAURUS now. I haven't done a lot of the marine reptiles in the entire exhibit speed build playlist. In fact, I've only done Kronosaurus and Styxosaurus, so it was really time to do the MOSASAURUS. Interestingly though, MOSASAURUS is part of both the Kronosaurus and the Styxosaurus habitat that I already built. Like Chrono and Styxo, they were the focus of those other two videos, but in each case I was like, and I'll throw in a MOSASAURUS as well, because why not? They're fun. So that just goes to show that it really is my favorite marine reptile. But this time it is a dedicated MOSASAURUS build. For me at least. You can incorporate this into your own parks in any way you want. You don't have to make this a MOSASAURUS lagoon. You can check any marine reptile in here that you want. Or if you want to get even more creative with it, substitute the lagoon with an aviary, substitute the lagoon with a regular land habitat, and just keep the shape and work the ideas in that way. You know, so that's how you can put your own spin on things. One of the things I really like doing, which you just saw me do on three different sides of this lagoon, is line the lagoon wall with the fountains. I just love that effect, and you can really get them in there. You know, you can overlap with the lagoon base quite a bit, so that creates an interesting effect, especially at night, because the lights of the fountain really light up the lagoon wall, which is really cool. Now, I'm just doing a lot of trees around, and I'm adding the suggestion of an exhibit over here. I'm not going to build it, because this is all about the lagoon, it's all about the MOSASAURUS, but just to inspire you, again, for if you're going to use this as the base of your own park, that you can extend out from there. Use that lagoon wall as the backdrop of an exhibit. I think that's really cool, something I always love doing. This is like an alternative to planters. You can also line your paths with some bushes, some foliage. Just really add honestly, just add as much detail as you can stand. I guess that's the tip there. Just add as much as is fun for you to do in the moment. Don't force yourself to do stuff that you don't feel like doing. It's a game, it's supposed to be fun, and honestly, if you really think about it, you'll never be done, right? You can add an infinite amount of detail and never be done. Just keep it fun for yourself. Now, speaking of adding detail, we're gonna work on the underwater right now, and you can see the effect of the monorail roof underwater. We have like this wall of pillars, and what I wanted to do was use these lagoon lights to illuminate them. And honestly, you can create several different effects with this. I feel like with this like pale green light, the effect is really spooky. It has like this haunted feel to it, which I really love for the MOSASAURUS Lagoon. But if you switch up the colors with which you illuminate those pillars, you can make a totally different feel. Now, something interesting I discovered right here is that you can actually place your lagoon decorations right at the base of the pillars. For some reason, the monorail pillars do not have a hitbox underwater, unlike what they do on land. So you can just layer your rocks and other decorations right against the pillar. There goes the MOSASAURUS. And I just feel like it creates a really cool and unique effect. You know, this is not something you would do every single time, but for this specific habitat, for this specific viewing gallery that looks out on this, I think this is really cool. I added purple lights to like the coral reefs in front, and I toyed around with changing the color on the pillar. Honestly, I really love that pale green color, and here you see the effect with the MOSASAURUS swimming in front of it. I love it. I think it's so cool. It creates something really interesting to look at underwater. I mean, I appreciate the underwater decorations that we have. They're certainly a step up from what it was at the beginning of the game, but the decorations are all so small, and the pillars at least give some height. So there's really a lot just happening in front of your face, even when the MOSASAURUS aren't swimming around. So yeah, I really love this, and I hope that you can incorporate it in your park some way as well. I think it looks awesome from the above water view as well, and you can just see how many awesome opportunities there are to see the MOSASAURUS feeding on the sharks and to see them swimming around in the water. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I hope that, again, it just really inspired you for your own build. If it did, then consider giving the video a like and joining the channel for even more content like this. Because there is so much more coming, specifically in these coming days, where again, it is my very ambitious plan to give you a video like this every single day. If you have specific requests for a species, I'm totally open to that. Obviously, I have a couple of things already planned out ahead of time, but there are still some open slots that I'm open to suggestions from you guys. So if you have a dinosaur or other species that you want to see me do a build for, comment that down below. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.